Hello and welcome to the course of Network Security. This is our lecture number 2. In the previous lecture, we talked about security, privacy, and safety, and we see a basic definition of the information security. At the end of lecture number 1, I talk about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So this is going to be the topic of this lecture as well. We are going to explain these terms in more detail. So let us start. At the start of this lecture, we will see what is the objectives of a secure system. It could be information security, data security, cloud security, transmission security, network security, and so on. So what are the objectives of a secure system? And also there is a need to keep a balance between information security and information access. These two are the topic for this video. Let us start with the objectives of security. This is known as CIA Triad. C stands for confidentiality, I stand for integrity, and A stands for availability of information. We will study these three concepts in detail. But first, let me tell you that these three are normally referred as CIA Triad. Sometimes they are known as objectives of network security or objectives of information security. They are also known as security services, security goals, security triad. They are also known as the components of a secure system or the properties of security. Different names are given to these terminologies. Don't be confused. Okay. Well, the basic principles of a secure system are these three principles. CIA. Okay. They help us to strengthen the security of our system, of our data, of our network, of our information, and they work together to protect our system and our data. The very first of these principles is known as confidentiality. It is actually the most common aspect of information security. What does it mean? Confidentiality in simple words mean the concealment of information or the resources. You can say that the information has confidentiality when it is protected from disclosure or from exposure to unauthorized individual or system. You may notice sometime you receive a letter and it is written on the envelope confidential. What does it mean? Only that person to whom the letter is addressed, only he or she is authorized to open the letter. If you have a PA, for example, if you have an assistant, for example, he or she may not be allowed to open the letter because it is confidential. Same is the case with information confidentiality. Okay, we need to protect our data, our information, our system, our network from unauthorized individuals. So confidentiality actually ensures that only users with the rights, with the privileges, and need to access information are able to do so. When unauthorized individuals or unauthorized software or unauthorized systems view the confidential information, then we can say that the confidentiality has been breached, breakout. Okay, confidentiality not only apply to the storage of information, it also apply to the transmission of information. Okay, mean if you have some data stored on your system, it must be available only to the authorized users. That is the storage of information. But if you want to send the data to another person through the public internet, then during the transmission of the data of the information, it must also be protected during transmission. The confidentiality should be ensured that the data in the transmit is also protected from unauthorized access. When we send a piece of information to be stored in remote computer, for example, or when we retrieve a piece of information from a remote computer, for example, we need to conceal it during the transmission as well. What does it mean? It means that only the sender and intended receiver should be able to understand the contents of the transmitted message. Why? Because During transmission, security is more desirable because there are many hackers out there, many eavesdroppers out there, many attackers, intruders out there who are looking for confidential information, and they may be able to intercept the message. So you need a mechanism that the message should be somehow encrypted. Okay, this word is new for you, encrypted. We will see the details of encryption later on. But at this moment, encryption means that your message should be transmitted in a form that is hard to understand. Mean you change the meaning of the message, you change the contents of the message. So for example, if somebody read your message unauthorizedly, he or she may not be able to understand the contents of the message. It cannot be understood by an interceptor, an attacker, a hacker, or an unauthorized user. Okay, so how we can actually achieve the encryption of a message? We can achieve the encryption with the help of cryptography, another concept, cryptography. We will cover it in later videos. Okay, so coming back to confidentiality, it's actually actually it is interdependent with other characteristic, and it is closely related with privacy as well, as we just saw what is privacy in the previous lecture. So the value of confidentiality is especially high for personal information about employees, about customers, about patients, etc. Their personal information is important, which is privacy, and we need to ensure privacy and confidentiality as well. For example, only your doctor is allowed to see your medical exam reports. Nobody else is allowed. Only your parents, for example, are allowed to see your grades. Your friends are not allowed. Confidentiality, privacy. And people who actually uh, send their data by using the public internet, they have higher chances that their data is going to be leaked by unauthorized accesses. So problem arises when companies discloses this confidential information to third party. Okay, there is a problem. So actually, let me conclude the confidentiality. For example, you are a consumer of a service, and you give pieces of your personal information in exchange of the services that you are going to avail. Okay, you give your information to the company. How? When you fill out an online survey form, for example, you exchange pieces of your personal history for accessing online services. Or let's suppose you are going to receive a free magazine every month. For that to receive, you have to sign up a form and you have to provide your personal information. Okay, this personal information you provide, the company give you a surety that they will not disclose your personal identifiable information to anyone. If they disclose, your privacy is not maintained. Okay, the confidentiality has been bleached out, breaked out. Okay, so confidentiality means the concealment of information. Concealment of information means that your data must only be accessible by the persons to whom it concerns. Any unauthorized person would not be able to access the information. However, if they access the information, they will not be able to understand the contents of the information. There is confidentiality. On the other hand, we have integrity, which is another principle. Integrity refers to the accuracy of the information. Okay, now we are not talking about the existing, we are talking about the accuracy. Information has integrity when it is whole, complete, and uncorrupted. If the information is not in whole, if the information is not complete, if it is corrupted, then the integrity has been lost. And in data communication, in information transmission, integrity means assuring that the receive the receiver that have received the data has not been altered in any way from the original. What does it mean? Let me explain. You send a message to your friend. Let's have a dinner tonight. Okay? Now your friend, the receiver of the message, receives something else. For example, let's go for a movie tonight. Now you see the information has been changed by someone during transmission of the information. The receiver doesn't get the correct information. What does it mean? It means the integrity of the message has been compromised. The information has been altered, modified without authorization. Mean changes which is done by unauthorized entities through unauthorized mechanism has compromised the integrity of the message. So the integrity of information is threatened when it is exposed to corruption, to damage, to destruction, or other type of unauthentic means. Okay. Uh, Talking about viruses and worms, we doesn't cover those things, but everybody's familiar with the terms viruses and worms. They are actually designed with the explicit purpose of corrupting your data. Sometimes you have a file stored on your hard disk, you try to open it, and the file is corrupted. How is that possible? Because of the viruses, because of the worms. They infect your files, and the integrity of the information has been lost. And for this reason, a key method for detection of a virus, there are plenty of options available, antiviruses, etc. But one of the method is that to see the integrity of the file is to check the file size. Okay, but in that case, you have to remember the actual size of the file, because when you modify the file, the size is obviously going to be changed. And another key method for assuring the information integrity is known as file hashing technique. Okay, don't worry about these techniques, as we will cover all these techniques in our coming lectures. But hashing is another technique. And in hashing, a file is read by a special algorithm that uses the bit values in the file to compute a single large number, and that number is known as hash value. And the hash value, uh, for any combination of bit, it is a unique value. So we will cover these hash algorithms and how the hash values are generated, how they are used for integrity purposes later on in this course. But it actually ensures the data stored on devices is correct, and no unauthorized persons or malicious software has altered the data. So we can protect the integrity of the data by different methods, and we will discover those methods later on in this course. But for summary, integrity means the accuracy of information, means only the intended persons has the right to change the message. The message is not able, or the data is not able to be changed unauthorizedly by any person. Either it is stored or during transmission. That is not possible. And the third, a property or principle is availability. Oh, availability. Have you ever heard about the message that the ATM machine is down, temporarily not available? There is a shit. You go to 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 withdraw money from the ATM machine, and when you reach there, the ATM machine say, "Hey, I'm not working properly. The ATM machine is down." Okay, what does it mean? Availability of the service is not available. And this is the third component of information security. And the principle of availability states that the information should be available to the authorized user all the time. Just give some attention to this definition. Authorized user, not unauthorized user. All the time, not some of the time. Okay, so availability means the information must be available to the user, authorized user, all the time, around the clock, 24/7. And this is what cloud provide you. 99.99% availability. 99.99% of the time your information will be available to you from anywhere, from any device, as long as you have an internet connection. So this is the third component of the information security, and this is the availability. And the principle of availability states that the information should be available to the authorized user all the time, which means providing reliable and timely access to data and resources. So availability actually enables the authorized user. When I say user, it means people or computer. Okay, so availability enables the authorized user to access the information without interference, without obstruction. Okay, and the information must be received in the appropriate format. So you see that availability is actually an important aspect of reliability. Okay, if the information is available, the system is reliable. It assures that a system authorized user have timely and uninterrupted access to the information. But that is not always possible. Later on, we will see that there are different types of attacks that a user can perform, an attacker can perform to bring down your system. And then the system will not be available to the authorized user. Okay, so the availability of the system is compromised, the reliability of the system is compromised by an attack, and one such type of attack is known as denial of service attack. Don't worry, we have to cover those concepts later on in this course. Okay, so these three were the basic principles: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We also have some other objectives. Okay, because the systems are evolving, complex systems are exist, complex network exist in today's world, and we need more objectives. some of the more some of more objectives are security related objectives, or you can say security triads are non-repudiation, authenticity, accountability, and accuracy. Let me shortly explain them. Non-repudiation mean the rejection of an idea. Repudiation means the rejection of an idea, and non-repudiation is actually the opposite. Means that one party cannot deny receiving a message, or the other party cannot deny sending a message. I send you a message, now I cannot deny that I did not send this message. The message come from someone else. You receive my message, you cannot deny that you did not receive my message. Okay, and one of the example is, you see, when you send a message to someone, an SMS to someone, you receive a confirmation message, the message has been delivered successfully. You send an email, a message appeared. On the other hand, the person cannot deny it, that he or she does not receive the message. But because of different types of attack, things are not always like this. The receiver can receive a message from someone else. Spoofing attacks are there. Someone can theft identity of yours identity to send a message to someone else. You does not send the message, someone else sent the message from your ID. Okay, so we need our system to deal with such type of situations. Mean one party, either party, the sender or receiver, they will not be able to deny sending a message or receiving a message. That is non-repudiation. And then authenticity. Authenticity of information is actually the quality or state of being genuine or original, rather than a reproduction or fabrication. The principle, if followed, it guaranteed that the valid and genuine message received from a trusted source through a valid transmission medium, means verifying that users are who they say they are, and that each input arriving at a destination is from a trusted source. Information is authentic when it is in the same state in which it was created, it was placed, it was stored, and it was transmitted. If it has become complicated for you, let me give you an example. Consider for a moment some common assumptions about an email. When you receive an email, you assume that a specific individual created and transmitted that email. You can see it from whom you actually receive the email, sender of the message. Okay, you assume you know its origin. This is not always the case. Okay, if it is from the intended sender, the message is authentic, but that is not always the case. Email spoofing is an attack, which is actually the act of sending an email message with a modified field. And it is a problem for many people today because the modified field often is the address of the originator. Spoofing the sender address can fool email recipient into thinking that the message are legitimate traffic, and they open the email, and otherwise they can these emails can bring them into problems. So authenticity mean making sure that the message has exactly arrived from the desired sender. Okay, not from a spoofed idea or things like that. And we also have accountability. Accountability means that it should be possible to track actions of an entity uniquely to that entity. We will go into more details about these other objectives later on in this course. And accuracy is very simple, mean the information has accuracy when it is free from mistakes, or you can say from errors, or it has the value that the end user expect. The information has been If the information has been intentionally or unintentionally modified, it is not longer accurate. So it is, you see, it is something related with the integrity of the message. If the information has been changed, then it is not more no longer more accurate. Okay. For example, you are checking your account. You assume that the information in your account is accurate representation of your finances. Inaccurate information in the account can result from any factors, internal or external. You are familiar. Sometime you receive money in the accounts from unknown persons. Wow, is it happen to you? Oh God, everybody want to happen this. Another example, if a bank teller, for instance, mistakenly add or subtract too much money from your account, the value of the information is changed. Or you may accidentally enter an incorrect amount into your account. So either way, inaccurate bank balance could cause you to make other mistakes, such as bouncing a check, etc. Okay? So inaccuracy of information is there, or there are certain types of attacks that attackers can perform to make your information inaccurate, to bring it into inaccurate state. That is possible. Okay, so we will study these triads, these objectives later on in this course. Now the last topic is balancing information security and access. There are two things. One thing is security, the second concept is access to the information. With the best planning and implementation, it is impossible to obtain perfect information security. What does it mean? It means that it is almost impossible to say that your information is secure, your system is secure, your network is secure, your cloud is secure. That is almost impossible in today's world. You cannot claim, because information security can never be absolute. Why? Information security is actually a process. It is not a destination. It is not a goal. It is a process. Every day you try to make your system as much secure as possible. Today your system is secure. Tomorrow there are many breaches in your system. Today security is tomorrow risk. You can make a system available to anyone, anywhere, anytime, through any means. That is access to the system. Security, you understand. What is access? To make your system available to anyone, from anywhere, at any time, through any means of communication. However, such unrestricted access poses a danger to the security of the system, of the information, of the data. Why? Because you make things open to whole world, right? That is access to the information. While on the other hand, a completely secure information system would not allow anyone access. If you want a completely secure system, you will have to restrict the accesses to that information, to that system. But we do not need completely, we do not need that nobody is able to access our system, because we want people to access our system, our data. At least the authorized users are required to access the system. And on the other hand, we want some policies, some restrictions, some security checks, that no unauthorized person is able to access the system, the data. So we need a balance. And to achieve the balance, we need to design the information system in such a way that will satisfy the user, the authorized user, and the security professional. The security level must allow reasonable access, yet it must protect against different type of threats. And here is a brief explanation between the concept of balancing the security and the access. On one side you have the security, on the other side you have the access, mean your customers, and these are the professionals who are actually working to make your system secure. So the more you make your system secure, the less access you are giving to the user. While on the other side, the more access you are going to provide to the user, the less secure your system is going to be. So you need a balance between these two. You need security on one side, while you need to give access to the users, authorized user, on the other side as well. Well, this is not very easy to achieve because today's security concerns and issue are rising day by day. An information system or data processing department get too much engaged in the management and protections of the system. Security personnel are there who are working on different algorithms, different solutions to make the system secure, to make the data information secure during storage, during processing, during transmission. Okay, an imbalance can occur when the needs, you see, the needs of the user, they are undetermined by obsessive focus on protecting and administrating the information system. Information security technologies and the end users must recognize that both groups share the same overall goals of the organization to ensure that the data is available when, where, and how it is needed with minimum delays and obstacles. If you provide too much security like encryption, etc., then the users will will encounter different delays. You see, hey, encrypting email is a hassle. Why? Because it slows down the process. You are actually applying different types of algorithm to make your data secure, and for that you have to encrypt the data, and it will take some time. What will happen? The user will face delays in accessing their emails, for example. Okay, so you have to keep a balance. You need the system to be reliable, available, provide quick responses to the users, and on the other side, security should not be compromised. So always we need a balance between information security and access to the information. This was about today's lecture. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned for more informative videos about network security. Do subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Thank you. Goodbye.